Hey there guys, EctoMaster here. Yes, this is Ghostbusters the Video Game. And yes, we've played this part. Actually, this is not old footage. This is brand new footage. Footage that I had to reshoot because I don't have those videos anymore. And I wanted the sound in the background. If I used my old footage, well then you would have me talking over myself. And we couldn't have that. No! No, this is another case. Another episode of the Case Files, where we sit back and I look at a game and I give my thoughts, my reviews and views on said game. Now, of course, this game, if you follow the channel or even my Twitter, I have actually not completed this game. This is Ghostbusters The Video Game. And I know you're sitting there thinking, wait a minute, wait. Ecto. It's even in your name. It's in the channel name. The music that you play at the end of all the videos. It's all over this place. You're a Ghostbuster fan. Like a huge Ghostbuster fan. Are you going to give this a fair look? Yes. Yes, I am, because there is a lot that I think is wrong with this game, especially the PC version. And we're going to get into all that. But first and foremost, let's talk about the game itself. In the game, you play a brand new rookie. In fact, that's what it says on your jumpsuit, or your flight suit, whatever you want to call it. That's how the characters refer to you. You are never given an actual name. You go through the entire story, in which it takes place 2 years after the events of Ghostbusters 2. You join the Ghostbusters and visit a rather large scale of familiar places and faces to take down and save New York City. Now, to kind of get into what this game is about, obviously you're a Ghostbuster. You've got the Proton Pack, you've got the Ghost Trap. If you don't know what to do at this point, I recommend you sit down, stop this video, buy, not rent, buy Ghostbusters, the movie, and if you feel like it, Ghostbusters 2, go right ahead. Buy Ghostbusters, sit down, watch, and then you'll understand what this game is all about. Essentially, this is Ghostbusters 3 in video game form. That being said, it's not exactly Ghostbusters 3. As I said, it does take place 2 years after after Ghostbusters 2 events. But it's like a mishmash of what they wanted for Ghostbusters 3. And to be quite honest, Ghostbusters 3 is on its way, but that's a conversation for a different day on a different channel. Oh, not on a different channel, but on a different video series. Here we're going to talk about the video game. I love this game for what it does. It gives me the Proton Pack. I can go through the game. I can bust some heads. I can kick some ass. In a spiritual sense, of course. It harkens back to Ghostbusters 1. I want to say Ghostbusters 1 because it is Ghostbusters, Ghostbusters 2, and then Ghostbusters the Video Game. This game is completely canonical with the whole lore of the Ghostbusters franchise. Unlike, unfortunately, the real Ghostbusters, Extreme Ghostbusters, and Ghostbusters the comic book. Which, if you have not checked out, I do recommend as well. Now, the whole plot of this is, as I said, you're a newbie, and you're going through this, and you're going through some old places, and meeting some old faces, as well as some new ones. We're about to meet a new one. Every level, and you don't exactly get level 1, level 2, but every level has its own boss, and we just met this level's boss. And once you take down that boss, you usually get like a little bit of a cinematic, you move on to the next phase, or next stage, and you just keep on going until you finally get to the end. The end is fantastic. It's a fun story. Great. It works perfectly well within the Ghostbuster universe. But we're not here to talk about how great the story is, or how great, the action is, or no. We're here to talk about what I think works on this game, and what out of everything, and there's quite a bit that I think doesn't work for the game. What works for the game is definitely playing it on the computer, the mouse is a lot easier to control when you're using the Proton Pack. I have never really liked using a controller when it comes to first or third person shooters in this instance. You do run around. I do find it to aim easier with the mouse and the keyboard than I do with the joysticks. I've always felt like for first person shooters, controllers just seem clunky and robotic to me. So I always kind of I just prefer having the mouse and keyboard. The mouse is almost like an extension of my hand, so wherever my hand can go, the in this instance the proton stream will go. But there are quite a few things that I look back on this game and I realize have fallen way short. Some of the acting seems kind of canned. A lot of people say that Bill Murray just kind of phoned it in. Yes, they do have the original actors playing the original characters. Those guys are back, but there's a lot of criticism to be taken with it. Your character, besides a few grunts and groans and yells, doesn't really say anything. He's kind of quiet, and in fact, as I said, he doesn't have a name. I think that was something that was really missed out on, as a lot more games, and we'll throw it out there, Skyrim, for example. Now, this game did come out before Skyrim, but it gave you a chance to create your character. Even if I didn't have, a name, if I had the opportunity or the chance to at least create a character, that would have been great. If I could have made my character look however I wanted to, that would have been fantastic. Hell, if I could have made Kylie Griffin in this game and run around as Kylie Griffin, that would have been freaking awesome. Because as a fan, Kylie Griffin is probably one of the coolest, of the new Ghostbusters from Extreme and the comic books. Kylie Griffin is probably the most popular of them all. After probably after the originals, Kylie Griffin is the most popular. Just my opinion, I believe, but I don't think I'm totally wrong in that assumption. But the fact that you couldn't really create your own character, that was kind of a drawback, especially when you look at the Xbox and PlayStation versions. You were able to do multiplayer.
Still pretty much ready.
Here I am, I'm messing up. I keep on throwing the trap instead of picking it up. I'm like, no, pick up the trap. What the hell? Why isn't? Oh, it's E. That's right. I said PlayStation and Xbox versions, you get to play multiplayer.
Thanks to me and my new
on the computer, there is no multiplayer. Again, something major, something that shouldn't have been missed out on, and yet was totally left out. Totally left out of the final game. For the computer, at least. You could not, in any way, shape, or form, play as, with others. It was single player, and that was it. That's all you could do. Nothing else. And I think they really missed out, especially, it's kind of like when companies are making games and they put them console only, despite the fact that they make them on computers, and a lot of times test them on computers, and they decide to not release them on computers. Start. Excuse me. Oof. Had a cough there. And to leave out, a function like that, especially on a computer, a lot of times, the PCs are already connected to the internet. To not have multiplayer on a computer game such as this, where you could run around with 2 or 3 others that are, 1 to 3 others than just yourself. If you could run as a whole team of Ghostbusters and do this, this would be awesome. Would it not? It would be a great game, but it actually doesn't have multiplayer. So you won't see that. Another issue that you may notice that is also on the Xbox 360 and the PlayStation 3 versions, there are no achievements. There isn't an achievement system. They are listed throughout for every other aspect of this game except for the PC version. There are no achievements. And again, that's something that I think is sorely and sadly missed out upon. Because again, it's just an achievement system. Why aren't they in this game? Now these seem like minor gripes, but when you think about it, Then we start getting into other things that are, major issues of this game. There is a lot to this game that is fun. There's a lot to it that's fantastic, and I love it. But at the same time, like, here I have to go and rescue Peter Venkman. I have to pick him up. Okay. Well, that's great and all, but if you watch some of my older videos, you're reliant upon them to rescue you as well. And if you're trying to rescue one, and I had this happen, where I was trying to rescue Winston, and it was let up to the computer to come over and rescue not just Winston, but myself, then you're in trouble. Especially if they can't do it, then you have to restart. You're relying on the computer. If I was relying on my friends, I could understand, but the computer, I shouldn't have to rely upon that AI to come over and stop whatever it's doing just to come and save my hide. I mean, I shouldn't have gotten beat up in the first place, but it happens. You can't predict what's going to be coming around you. And then, especially in this, when they're throwing things at you, they're possessing items, they're going to other parts of the building, and you have to chase after them. It's great and all, but at the same time, if you're down and out, and you've got one guy up, and he's rescuing the other, and in the process of rescuing the other, he gets knocked down, well, now you got to start all over again. Again, if it was a human that was doing that, if it was me, my buddy, if it was Sasquatch and I, and it was me going, nope, not going to rescue you, nope, you're all on your own, and then rescue him after I'm done, okay, that's just me being a dick. But in the computer, it's like you're relying on the computer to come and help you. And I didn't like that at all. Sometimes also when you're playing the game, you'll go to a certain area and you got to stand in an exact spot. And if you're not in an exact spot, the story will not progress. It'll just go, it'll either go quiet or one of the Ghostbusters will say something like, hey, come on, we're moving along here. Hey, waiting on you, buddy. It's like, come on. It's like, all right, well, it's like a backwards, well, what are the quests? Oh, the quest in World of Warcraft where you're walking with the dude. It's like one of those quests. I keep on wanting to say Guardian. That's not it. I'm going to remember like halfway through my next gripe about this. There's also a lot of things that I knew this game was supposed to have that ended up missing from the game. For example, one idea that they had was that you were only going to have a limited number of ghost traps. They, of course, removed that from the game, and I think it was a good idea because limiting the number of traps limits you to how many ghosts you can catch, and it just kind of it gets a little silly after that. But then you encounter some scenes that are just awkward. Like, here in just a few moments, we're going to see the Pappy Sargassi, whatever his name is. He removes, he destroys the staircase. And here it is. Egon throws you a trap. I have a trap. Why are you giving me another trap? That doesn't make sense, because I think it may have been still in the, you're only going to have one or two traps, then he gives you an extra one, that kind of thing. But that system was removed. I'm not saying it was a bad idea, but that system was definitely removed. Another system that was removed entirely was the money system. In the original plan, you get money from capturing ghosts and artifacts, like I just did. And you lose money for causing damage. So the whole point was to, limit how much damage you do. Because the more damage you do, it could affect how much money you make or don't make. And in this instance, if you did $10,000 worth of damage, but you only caught $8,000 worth of ghosts, well, you actually owe the city $2,000. And again, that was another system that was completely removed. Another thing that was entirely removed was a level involving the Thanksgiving Day Parade. And it was just flat out removed. The remains of it are placed, I think, in the museum part of the game. And it just... I kind of miss it because, to be honest, I knew a little bit of a secret that was going into the into that, because at one point you were supposed to go into Ray's occult, which is a fantastic tie-in to Ghostbusters 2 besides just having Vigo. And at some point, I think it's on this level, you find a dancing toaster. Yeah, Ghostbusters 2. But I don't go for the toaster, by the way. I kind of go and do my thing. And this is where one of my least favorite parts is, because it's just and that wasn't there before. Oh my, it's creepy crawlies, and I hate creepy crawlies. Because especially these, and this part of it, you want to like get into a corner and just aim at the floor, but the problem is they also crawl on the ceiling. And it's a pain in the ass because, yep, I don't have the blast recoil yet, so I can't walk and shoot at the same time at a decent pace. It's kind of a slow pace. But anyways, back to, if I can remember where I was going with this. I can't. There's just aspects of this game that are lacking. I remember. They were going to go into Ray's occult, and I am friends with one of the webcomics out there. I'm not going to say who it is. I'm just going to leave it as is. And they were contacted by one of the artists that were working on the game. And they were saying how they were fans of the webcomic, and that they were wanting to place a one-shot of the webcomic into the actual game itself. So, as a fan of the webcomic and the video game, it's kind of disheartening to hear that they decided to remove that aspect of the game. And there are still pieces of it. You see, like, one of the floats attacking on TV, and the Ghostbusters don't do anything about it. Some of the dialogue is placed into the Museum of Natural History. Boy, I can't get that title right, can I? It's placed in the museum part, and that's actually one of my favorite levels. That one and the second level, which is where you fight Stay Puft. The library is my least favorite level. It is creepy as balls. Children's library. Trust me, when we get back into this, you'll see what I'm talking about if you haven't seen it. It's good for what it is, but it's lacking on a lot of areas. It's very simplistic. Blast, sap, trap, and that's that. And that's that. Nothing else to it. There is very, very little substance to it. The jokes are funny at points. There are good scenes and whatnot, but not everything is, sunshine and rainbows and unicorns and Pegasi. Not everything is Bronylicious. It is kind of like, okay, well, I like that. I like that the three, the PC, the Xbox, and the PlayStation 3 went for a more realistic tie so that it can feel like the movies. I do like that. That's why I initially bought it. Although I never really completed it due to, as I said in the opening, due to issues with my computer. It was huge on the graphics first and foremost, and I had to go out and get a brand new graphic card just to play this game. Now it's like I've got no problem with it because look, I got a great graphics card. I've got like 12 gigabytes of RAM, but it was hard on my graphics at that time. It was hard on my computer at the time, so I never really actually completed it. But I did see it being completed. The lack of an achievement system, despite the fact that it's in others, the lack of multiplayer, despite that it was in others, the lack of customization with your character. I know not every game has customization, but it was everybody's dream to be a Ghostbuster. Not everybody dreams of being a thief, like in Thief. And that's got a story to tell, but you're not given a name to begin with. They don't speak the rookie's name. They refer to him as him, or this specimen, or the rookie, or the new guy, or... You could have made a girl, and it wouldn't have really made much of a difference on what they say. And again, here's another instance where I'm relying on the AI to come and rescue me. The game isn't really all that hard. You can't really die in the game, but you can, get separated from the rest of the Ghostbusters, which happens in the next level of this. It happened in this level where you're on your own, which can create some kind of, some creepy moments in the game, which is nice that it ties in that the movie had some creepy moments as well. So, I mean, that was nice, but at the same time, I like playing a horror, game. I have no problem with that, but they're just, it's a good game for what it is. I don't want to sit here and go, oh my god, it was so terrible. But there are so many things with it that I wish that they just could have done. And I sit back now and I say, oh my god, a multiplayer of this would have been great on the PC. And I sit back and go, a multiplayer of this game still would have been great. And, as a follow-up, and I'm going to go spoilers here, at the very, very end of the game, the Ghostbusters are discussing how the amount of ghosts in the world is a whole lot less, or in New York is a whole lot less now that this whole thing with Gozer, well, we're about to see why I said that. The whole thing with Gozer and all these ghosts, it's all done now. And that there's other franchises out there, but unfortunately Terminal Reality has closed its doors, and we may not see another Ghostbusters game for a very, very long time. Maybe not until the third movie, if not after. And it's unfortunate because it was a really fun game. I just wish there was more for the computer. I just feel like the computer version was slighted compared to the 360 and the PS3. That's really all I have to say. I am rather critical on a lot of that, as you can see, because I talked about what I didn't like, but we're going to leave it at that. This has been Case Files, Ghostbusters The Video Game. Next week we'll be doing another game. Don't know yet, but we will be reviewing one of them. So until then, I will see you guys next time.
Wasn't me this time, I swear it.